What we can do in an informal setting is bring some of those science concepts, mathematical concepts, everyday concepts to life, in an informal setting. And in doing so, it doesn't mean that we throw away the pencil and paper or the written text or pictures or graphs, but we use those differently just by changing the environment from in school to perhaps out of school in an informal setting. So an educator can do a lot. One of the first things an educator can do in an informal setting is simply be a good model for the use of various literacy skills for a young person. For example, they can simply share a love of reading for pleasure, but they also might share and help students understand how to make sense of a graph or a chart or a map that's part of the engaging activity in that informal setting. So those two things really don't take a lot of training, as long as the educator makes their invisible thinking visible, because literacy really happens in a person's mind. If an educator has a bit more training, there are a few simple strategies that really are literacy strategies we don't think of as such. One is a graphic organizer. And so to explain to a learner how concepts are related to one another visually on paper or in the sand or on a poster board, that's a graphic organizer. And so youth educators could use that. There's another simple strategy that we call think, pair, share. And many students, even in a public school setting, the teacher's default mode of teaching is kind of whole class discussion. That favors the students who can really process orally and relatively quickly. Other students need a little more time and want some time to really think about their answers before they espouse those to the whole mass. And so I think Pair Share asks learners to think about a question, write an answer on a scrap sheet of paper or on a piece of index card, then share with a partner to get some confirmation that their answer is correct before then they would share it out to the wider class. So those are really pretty simple literacy strategies that just a little bit of preparation and practice maybe could help an informal educator. If an informal educator is a bit more adventurous, one of the strategies that when we work with public school teachers that they find useful for their students, that's kind of a gentle way to get students to read a little more deeply for detail, is called Stump the Teacher. And what we would ask our learners to do is read a passage, and it doesn't have to be a long piece of text. It could be a page or a couple of paragraphs. It'd be great if that passage had maybe a picture or a graph or a chart, a little bit of detail to it. So the students read on their own, and then their goal at the end of reading, or while they're reading, is to think about questions that they could ask the teacher to stump the teacher. And it seems really, really basic, but our teachers tell us that the students like the game of trying to stump their teacher, and you sort of have to, as a teacher, be like my grandfather playing checkers. You have to let the students stump you from time to time, but the students do like looking for the detail in the information to try to stump that teacher. And really a lot of literacy strategies cause us to process information in different ways other than simply lifting information off the page and putting it into our brains. We don't really learn best that way. We need to make some modifications to that information.